All right. Let's get started, guys. Let's get started. Starting up on Instagram, on live on podcast, and live on TikTok. Okay. Hey, guys, it's Bruce. Welcome to Convocourses podcast. Once a week, we talk about governance, risk, and compliance, cybersecurity topics. My name is Bruce, and I've been doing cybersecurity compliance, cybersecurity for since 2000. It sounds crazy to say for me to say it. I mean, 2000 was a long time ago. So I've been doing it since then. And before that, I was doing physical security with the government. And so you've got the inside scoop from somebody who's currently working as a cybersecurity person doing governance, risk, and compliance. And governance, risk, and compliance is a little bit different than the stuff you see on TV for cybersecurity and IT. Normally, whenever they represent cybersecurity, it's either like a forensics guy on CSI, or you're flying through virtual cities as a hacker or something like that on a movie. They normally represent hackers, criminal hackers, white hat hackers, or forensics guys, and I'm none of that stuff. But I'm cybersecurity nonetheless. And what it is the most important part of cybersecurity for organizations. Whenever you hear about organizations getting hacked, be it a hospital or your favorite retail store or government organizations or something, it's usually because they didn't have good governance, risk, and compliance. They didn't have good training. What is it? I'll explain. It's training for people inside your organization. It's making sure that somebody is doing risk assessments within your organization, meaning doing scans in your organization. It's making sure that people know what they should click on and what not to click on. It's making sure that people cannot just download any kind of software they want inside your organization. And to manage all that stuff, you need a lot of documentation. You need something called continuous monitoring, which means you're always watching the network. That's governance, risk, and compliance. And it's the most important part of cybersecurity that nobody talks about because it's boring. It's not easy. It's just not normally what people want to do. It's not glamorous. If you were to show it on TV, it would be a bunch of meetings. It's just not fun. So that's what governance, risk, and compliance is. Today, I'm just going to take questions. Sometimes I'll do interviews. Sometimes I'll teach on here. But right now, what I'm going to do is just take questions. I'm going to take questions from anybody and everybody. Right now, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. And I'm just focusing on your questions. So I'm going to answer them as fast as I can. Larry, how you doing, man? We've got Paul. Paul says 2 years of college classes. Are you asking, Paul, if you need to? Okay, let me read the rest of your question here. On TikTok, Paul says, I'm thinking of going into cybersecurity, but should I do cybersecurity boot camps or 2 years of college? Got you. Okay. It depends, Paul. First of all, let me tell you, let me back up a little bit. You don't have to do college to do cybersecurity. You don't have to do college to do IT. Does it help? Yeah, it definitely helps. It's going to help you on multiple levels. I need to know like where you are to like get a good feel for you. But if you're talking about a boot camp or college, hands down, college is going to help you out more. It's going to take longer, but college is going to help you. A boot camp is for people who are either trying to get a quick certification. They already are in IT and they're just trying to get a certification real quick. And that boot camp's going to prepare them for that test, or it's going to spin them up on certain skills that they need. Like they're already an IT person. Normally, a boot camp is best for somebody who's already in IT because they're gonna cram a bunch of stuff in your head, and you're not. If you don't have a good, strong foundation, it's just none of it's gonna make any sense to you, right? I've been to several boot camps, normally paid for by whatever organization I was working for, and I'm telling you, they just cram a bunch of stuff in your head, and you're not gonna retain. If you're already in that field, it's gonna just you'll be able to pick up things quickly. But if you're not in that field, it's just a lot of it's not going to make any sense. So I would say to answer your question, between a boot camp and 2 years of college or college, a degree is going to help you way better than a boot camp would, because the degree is going to help you to slowly build into your IT fundamentals. A lot of schools, that the school I went to, we had we had a practical inside. We actually would set up firewalls in one of my court classes. We actually would, write certain documentation and learned like how to actually write technical writing in cybersecurity, in IT in general. So those are some of the things that we were doing in the school. And that's some of the stuff. And then networking, like the networking piece in college, because you're in college, you'll be able, not like networking engineering, which you can do also, but I'm talking about you'll be able to be in contact with other like-minded people and start working while you're in college, which I always encourage people to do. Let me see if I got any more questions here. Paul just said, "How are you?" I'm going to try to answer every single question and comment today. That's what somebody said. Larry, the counter guy, says RLTC, RLTC. What about it, sir? Facts. Let me see. Nick says, and I see another question here popping up on YouTube. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Nick W on TikTok says, I have 18 years of law enforcement experience and basic CC cert with the ISC 2 squared. What's my next step? So I also have a law enforcement background, and surprisingly enough, there were some things in law enforcement that will help you out, because believe it or not, the physical security component of law enforcement, things like chain of custody, things about like doing assessments, physical assessments of an area, um, basic things. Access control is a big one. Those concepts hold in IT. So I'm sure, and I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure you're seeing the parallels between law enforcement and IT, which I was surprised when I got into it. So what is your next step? If I were you, the next best step is going to be to get some hands-on experience. And there's several ways. I'm going to be repeating this over and over again because it's that important. You need to get hands-on skills. What you probably want to do with hands-on skills, depending, I don't know where you are with your skill set, but you want to get smart on I would get smart on Windows operating systems, the current one, Windows 11, and then a little bit of Linux. I would, if you don't know it, like download Linux, start messing around with it, install it, screw around with it. Networks in your house, start setting up networks in your house. Get the skills, networking skills, basic networking skills. I would also start getting smart on cloud. Like you want to get the IT fundamentals down. And all of this while you're trying to get experience, hands-on experience as either a freelancer, working, doing odd jobs, doing IT, or get a local IT job, be it working in the cable company, local internet, local cable company, something like that, where you're doing hands-on, working, connecting their modems. Any kind of hands-on is going to help you out. I know, as a law enforcement person, maybe you have 18 years of background experience with law enforcement. You're going to have to be humble because you're coming in green with you and me working for some younger guy. I know because this happened to me. I got out of the military and I had like 8 years in the military. I had 5 years experience doing law enforcement and I have 4 years experience doing IT work, right? But when I got out of the military, when I got out of that line of work, I was I was working with guys who were younger than me who had been doing, say, networking for a long ass time. And so I had to learn from them. I had to be humble and then learn from them. And some of these guys, younger guys than me, became my mentors, you know. So you're gonna have to be humble. You got a lot to learn when you get in there. Get experience. That's your next step. Get your foot in the door and get experience. Do freelance work. If you happen to be real good at setting up networks or something, set up networks for people. You want to get stuff that you can put on your resume. That's the next thing you want to do. Right now, you can actually put your resume out there. Put your resume out there, and I know you might not have a lot of experience, but put it on your resume. Like anything that you're doing. Like you said, you got your CC cert, put that on there. If you're super familiar with, say, I don't know, Ubuntu uh, operating systems or Windows, you know how to do scans or whatever you know how to do, put that on your resume. Any kind of experience, put on your resume. You'd be surprised if somebody is looking for your talents. Another thing, probably place you want to look for is right now, Department of Justice. Um, um, Let me see. ICE. Is all these guys are looking for your talents. You'd be surprised. They're looking for somebody with a law enforcement background who also knows IT stuff. Places you can look right now, usajobs.com and whitehouse.gov. They've got this huge push to get more people like you and I, professionals. Actually, they're really looking for a lot of young people, but they need people. There's a huge gap where they're looking for as many people as possible to fill these gaps. So that's what I would do if I were you. All right, let me see. Mixed Match says, applying to remote CSA and ISSO information system security officer positions and information system security management positions, not getting responses from clearance jobs or contract websites. Any suggestions? I have a bachelor's degree, a CISSP, a TSSCI, a Security Plus, and a PMP. So what I would suggest is what I'm about to show you right now live. So I'm getting constant people contacting me about jobs, and I'm going to show you how I made this possible. Anybody can do this. I'm nothing special. I'm an ex-military guy, high school dropout. I'm not nothing spectacular about me except my work ethic. There's something I did to make this work. I was wondering why I got out of the military, why I was getting all these job offers, and it just so happens I was doing something right. And what I did was let me show you my screen real quick. Let me see, show my screen like that. Okay. So what you're looking at is my real LinkedIn account. I'm live on there right now, so just bear with me. But this is my real LinkedIn account. I'm really employed. I'm not just an influencer on the internet. I don't do that. Doing this stuff is part-time for me. My real job is at DHS. I work for Department of Homeland Security, a branch within there. So I'm looking for a job right now. Yeah. This is my real. So what my advice to you is that if you have, listen to me, sir. If you have a bachelor's degree and a CISSP and a TSSCI, I can guarantee you it's your resume. It's your resume and it's your profile. What you got to do is hook up your resume and your profile. I'm getting people looking at my profile constantly. And the reason why is because of this part right here, experience. The way you word this portion right here is super important. What you'll notice about my resume is it's got a bunch of. Now I'm showing you my profile, but it's coming from my resume. The first thing you want to do is spruce up your resume. You want to do an ATS style resume. And if you don't know what that is, you can go to convocourses.com. You can find my free resume, download it. It's not going to be free for long because people are abusing the hell out of my resume. They're using or abusing me and my resume, and I should be charging for it. But it's free right now for a limited time only. So my old resume is still getting me job opportunities, not job offers, because that's a whole different thing. Job opportunities, people contacting me all the time. And the reason why, the secret, is because I fill this damn thing out. I fill this thing completely out with a bunch of keywords. That's what all you're seeing here is this keywords. PCI DSS, MITRE ATT&CK framework, SAR, Security Assessment Report. What did I do with it? I created and trained for cybersecurity teams, cybersecurity security assessment report, SAR, review process improving, just a ton of stuff that everything I've done, I put it in here. All the key things I did with lots of numbers. You got to improve your resume. It's your resume, because there's no reason. Well, where do you live? Maybe that might be a part of it. Like, where you live. Are you willing to move? That's another thing, because some areas have more jobs than others. That might be another part of it. And so, number one, improve your resume, ATS style format. The reason why you want it to be an ATS style format is because as soon as you put it in an ATS style resume, ATS style stands for application tracking software. What that means is all the Fortune 500 companies, all the companies really that are taking in applications and resumes, they take an ATS style resume. That it's not fancy. It's so basic. But there's certain words that they want in certain format they want in there. If you put it in that format and you got all the keywords for the job that you're trying to get, which is information system security officer, dude, if you download my resume, it'll have a lot of the keywords that you need in there. You could literally use a lot of stuff I put in there. If you've ever done a policy, if you've ever done a SAR, if you've ever done a system security plan, a lot of that stuff, the way I word it, is in my resume right now. You can literally use what I have. You can literally use what I have right now. Of course, manipulate it to where it's more truthful with what you've done. But anyway, so you put in ATS style resume, you upload that to Dice, to Monster, to USA Jobs, to Career Builder, to LinkedIn, to Indeed, to Simply Hired, to as many platforms. If you're serious, your job will be to do nothing but post those things on as many of those job sites as possible. That's what you should do. And I guarantee you will get contacts. In fact, it will be overwhelming and it'll be too many. I can guarantee you that. I would like to take a few people and do nothing but do this for them and walk them through exactly what I've done. Like, do it for them, with them, so that they know how to do this. Teach them to fish one by one. I don't have the time for it right now, and I'll probably once I do take some people, it'll probably be like 4 or 5 people, take them, and then just people like yourself mix match, where I would just take it and do it for you, like one by one by one, and then not let go until you get a job opportunity. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Paul says, well, I'm almost your age and I think I need to learn faster. Is there healthcare GRC? Is there healthcare GRC? My favorite question. It always blows my mind. Yes, every industry has some form of GRC. GRC stands for, while I'm looking this thing up, governance, risk, and compliance. So, what is governance, risk, and compliance should be your next question. Governance, risk, and compliance is just IT management, right? Like, how do we like, that's your supervisor, who, if you happen to be on the help desk, it's going to be your boss, like the manager, the guy they manage the resources of the information technology infrastructure. Like, not just like what can we buy, like resources, but actual people who are doing the work. Like, they manage that kind of stuff. They might mess around with the network, piece or whatever. It depends on what kind of IT management they're doing, because you got firewall managers, you got network engineering managers, you got information system security managers, you got all kinds of, but there are management. You can also be the C-level execs, the C-suite guys, the director. These are people who manage what's going on, allocation of resources and funds and time and all that kind of stuff, right? Healthcare industry has that, of course. So that's G. That's the G part. Risk is, are we doing the risk assessment? What are we seeing? How are we doing it? Are we running scans? Are we looking at documentation? Are we doing pen testing? That's the risk. That's R, risk management specifically. Does healthcare do that? You best believe they do, right? And if they're not, that's why they're getting hacked. Compliance. So compliance is, are we in line with standards, government standards? And for healthcare, it's what? What is it for healthcare? You already know. It's HIPAA. So let me show you something. If you happen to be watching me on healthcare on YouTube. All right. So what I'm showing right now, if you happen to be listening to me or watching me on TikTok, I'm showing the IC2 squared certification called HCISPP. What is that? That is the Healthcare Security Certification. This is healthcare GRC. Healthcare has GRC. It has a huge infrastructure. And if you happen to already be in the healthcare industry, you are in luck. If you're trying to get an IT from the healthcare industry, they're looking for people right now for this. Listen, you're going to have to do some work. You're not going to get selected. Don't be discouraged when people start turning you down. That's the name of the game. I've been doing this 20 years and I get rejected probably 15 times a day, but I mean, I got thick skin. I know that there's something out there for me, and I'm very picky, by the way. I'm not trying to, I'm very picky. That's why it takes me longer. But listen, if you're just trying to get paid, you're trying to get your foot in the door, like, you can't be picky. Like, you got to take a job that's going to pay you, right? So you need to get in. Anyway, I digress. Okay. So HCISPP, what is it? What are the domains for this? Domain 1, healthcare industry. Domain 2, information governance in healthcare. Domain 3, information technology healthcare. Domain 4, regulations, compliance, and standards environment. That's HIPAA, basically. Domain 5, HIPAA again. It's privacy and security healthcare. Domain 6 is risk management, and risk assessment. Domain 7, third-party risk management, GRC in healthcare. So if I was a person in healthcare and if I was trying to make a move, I would probably make a move towards this certification right here, because you're already in that field. So a lot of things are just going to be like, you're going to understand it immediately. My man Larry says, is there a specific order you recommend reading your books? Project management, military background, and information system management, master's degree. Sorry. Any books more geared towards someone like me? I do have some cyber policy. I would, for you, Larry, if you're not familiar with risk management framework, or if you're trying to really understand it from a bird's eye view and getting into the guts of it, I would recommend, let me see, I've got some books here. Let me see if I have it here. It's a short book. It's a short read. Gets straight to the point. And that's why I wrote it, because I want to get straight to the point of it. So it is, here it is right here. Okay. This book right here. This would be the one I would recommend for somebody who's never done information security. Never done, if you're trying to get in the risk management framework, and you're trying to do information system security officer work, this is geared specifically for information system security officers. This is not a replacement for the document that all these regulations come from, which is the NIST 800 series. NIST 837 is what you want to read. Write this down. So number 1, NIST 837, free. Go on Google. You can find it. It's right on their government site. This book is not a replacement for that. NIST 853. That's another one. You want to skim it. It's very long. It's basically a catalog of all the security controls that go into the NIST 800, the risk management framework. Other books that you can read, other publications will be NIST Special Publication 860 and NIST 800. What's another good one? 53A, which is assessments. The issue with these books is that if you're not in academia, the way they write it is weird. And so I wrote this geared to people who are actually doing the work, because that's what I wanted. I wrote something that I wish somebody would have wrote for me when I first started doing risk management framework for the government. And that's how I wrote it. It's very straight to the point. It's like, here's what you need to do, A, B, and C. Next, here's what you need to do, A, B, and C. Here's a reference. Go here, read this if you want to know more. That's what this book does. So I would recommend this one first. Very short read, get straight to the point, is not a replacement for the NIST 800 special publication. The next one is this. So NIST 853 breaks down the families of the controls and what you as an information system security officer need to know, like the things you really need to know. There's 1,000 controls if you include all the enhancements. There's 1,000 controls. It's more of a reference guide. The NIST 853 is more of a reference guide. This is telling you what you need to do, right? It's going straight to the point from a person who's been in the industry, who's been doing this for a while. I'm giving you real world experience of why you need to focus on this and this part of this or that family. So that's what this book is right here. Now, if you don't want to read, I got a course. If you're interested, it's go to convocourses.com. The courses are there. It's not for everybody. It's for people who are trying to get into this game. That's the kind of the stuff that you need to go through. Another one that I would recommend if you're trying to expand your overall experience would be ISO 27001. Again, this is not for everybody. It's for somebody who actually has to know ISO 27001, and 9 times out of 10, a government person will not have to know this. It's for international standards. So that's what I would recommend. Let me see. Mr. Chris Whitlock says, what advice do you have for those who don't have security clearance but want to get into this space? Okay, Chris. So for a long time, I really held on to my security clearance because I was absolutely terrified that I would not be able to get a job. Because my career started in the Department of Defense, where you basically any of those jobs, most of those jobs, not all, but most of those jobs doing cybersecurity are going to need some kind of clearance, like a security clearance, a secret clearance, or a top secret clearance, or something like that, right? I was surprised when I got out of it that there's other government agencies that hire as many or more than Department of Defense that don't require a secret clearance or a top secret clearance. Because a security clearance is, okay, let me break it down. Let me break down the semantics. A security clearance consists of either a secret or a top secret. And then there's other things like Yankee White or like fucking all these caveats and all that kind of, there's all kinds of other crap that's above top secret, right? Like there's SCI and all of these different things that go above and beyond what, secret and top secret. But that is what a security clearance is. Not everybody needs to have that. In the Department of Homeland Security, in NASA, in most other departments in the government, they don't require a secret or top secret clearance. What they do require is a very thorough background check and something called a public trust. The IRS requires it. Most departments in the government require one of those things, which is not a secret clearance. Now, they usually put a public trust in the same grouping. Like when we talk about it regularly, if I'm talking to the average person or whoever having a conversation, we usually just say security clearance and it includes a public trust. But a public trust is very, very different from a secret and a top secret. I hope I'm not losing you so far. My point is, you don't need a secret or top secret to do most of the jobs for the government or for the state. You don't need a secret or top secret. I know this because I worked at NASA. I work right now at DHS. And I've worked as a contractor for several other organizations that were not the Department of Defense. And I did not need a secret clearance. My secret clearance and top secret clearance has been expired for probably 5 or 6 years. It's been gone. What I do have is a public trust. So you could get a public trust. They're going to do a very thorough background. They're going to have you do this long ass document and all. They're going to ask questions from family and friends and all kinds. It's very thorough, but it's not a secret clearance. It's not a top secret clearance. It's not officially not even a security clearance. It's a public trust. It's a very thorough background check. So what advice do you have for those who don't have a secret clearance? My advice is you can still do NIST 800 because all of these departments still require NIST 800. They use NIST 800, right? They have their own flavors and wording, how they word things and stuff is different. They use different tools to do certain things, but ultimately they're all doing risk management. Like they're still doing NIST 800. So you still can learn stuff like NIST 800, 853. So still get the experience. So my advice is still get, if you're trying to do this kind of work, you can still get this experience. And there's tons of jobs that do not require a security clearance to do it. Things like ISO 27001 might come in handy outside of the federal government because there's other organizations. And that's another big surprise is that because I knew the NIST 800, I got hired to do PCI DSS. I got hired to do ISO 27001. And I would be very, frank with them in the beginning. I was like, hey, I don't really do ISO 27000. I know what it is, but I do NIST 800. And, you probably want to read up on it and get knowledgeable of it, but get really deep on some form of governance, risk, and compliance, be it PCI DSS or HIPAA. HIPAA's it's just a regulation, but they do a lot of the same best security practices that you would do in the ISO 27001 or in the NIST 800. Anyway, my advice would be continue to do cybersecurity. You can still do GRC for many of the other departments and stuff like that. Thanks for your question, Chris. I appreciate that. All right, let me see. I got some more questions on TikTok. Somebody said, no more questions on TikTok, huh? Oh, wait, here we go. How can I get your book? You can go to convocourses.net to buy it directly from me, or you can go to amazon.com, and just search for Bruce Brown Risk Management Framework or Bruce Brown GRC or Bruce Brown RMF ISO. You can, I've got tons of books about all the stuff I'm talking about is what I cover, so let me see more questions. I'm here specifically to answer questions today, guys. It's all about you guys today. Hansel says, I live in New York. Can I get jobs remotely? Health information technology. I graduate in May. What I would do if I were you is immediately start applying for jobs. Don't wait until you graduate. As a matter of fact, reach out to the college, whatever college you go to, and see if they have a student working program. Your best networking is going to be while you're still in school. That's not to say you can't get it outside of school, but while you're in, they'll have internships, they'll have apprenticeships, they have working student programs. Reach out to them right immediately. Like send an email out right now to see if they have programs. Sometimes they'll have programs and they don't advertise them. So right now you want to just get your foot in the door. Okay. Remote jobs are very difficult to get. They're very, I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just telling you the truth. They're very competitive. They're very, very competitive. So start applying right now. Try to get a student job, a student working position, something like that, to get it on your resume, because any kind of experience that you get right now is going to help you be competitive to get those remote jobs. And you being a, would you say master's degree? Did you say, I don't, you didn't say what degree it was, but whatever program you're doing, try to get a working student, try to get an internship or apprenticeship or whatever right now. And then Larry says, he's talking to Chris. He says in chat works closely with Professor Black Ops doing what you do in bringing in GRC and community together to help educate them and help people get themselves and get jobs. Yep. And I think that if you go talk to Professor Black, there's a couple resources you can get from online. People I've been meeting, like Professor Black Ops. I think he's involved with Simply Cyber, and they've got like a GRC Mafia, bunch of people that you can network with there. And go talk to them. And then you've got who else? You got Will Reed. Will Reed is out there with bettereverydaycyber.com. He's doing mentorships right now. You know, I don't have time for it. You know, once I do have something put together, I will be reaching out to you guys. So stay tuned. I just don't have one right now. I just don't have the time for it. But yeah, there's a bunch of people out there right now who are networking besides myself. So we just need as many people as possible to get in this field. And that's why a lot of people are teaching and speaking out and stuff, because there's just not a lot of people doing it. Right. That's why you see my face popping up all the time whenever you search for risk management framework, because there's not a lot of people talking about it. Let me see. Somebody asked me, isn't the HCISPP sunsetting? Let me see. Maybe. Let me see. Right now, it's already on the 8570. But maybe, let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. I don't think it's closing down. I don't see why they would. I mean, they have a market for it. And there's nothing on the site saying it is shutting down. I'm curious now. I don't want to keep promoting this if they're going to shut it down. I don't think that they are, but let me see. HCIS. I'll do some research on that. I don't think it's shutting down, but if I'm mistaken, I will definitely let you guys know. HCISSP sunsetting. Oh, look at that. Okay, look at that. This is announcement. The following evaluation is no longer meeting criteria of IC squared. No longer strict requirements are designated to. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess it is. Let me see. Let me show you guys what I just found here. Thanks, Chris, for that. I appreciate that information. That's too bad. They were actually listing this out on 8570. HCISPP certification to be sunset. The ISC2 squared board of directors concluded that a thorough evaluation of IC2 squared portfolio, and they reviewed. This review is concluded periodically. Okay, blah blah blah, whatever. The HCISPP is no longer meets the strict requirements required to maintain the recognized as a ISC2 certification. It will be designated as an inactive credential. Oh, okay. I didn't. Wow. All right. Damn. Didn't know that. Following the guides committee, and they're going to sunset it in 2026. So if you hold the certification, you'll be contacted and provided an alternative credential and training access. So anybody who has it, they're going to give you a different credential and give you training access. And okay, I didn't know. What's crazy is this was one of the top healthcare certifications because the way that they promoted the hell out of this thing. ISC2 squared has amazing an amazing ability to put their certifications out there. They're really, really good. I've got a few different ISC2 squared certifications, and man, they promote the shit out of them. Yeah, okay. I guess they're getting rid of that one. Thanks for that, Chris. I appreciate that, man. I will no longer promote it. But that said, that's still, I mean, it's still healthcare definitely has a GRC path. And even though ISC2 squared is sunsetting the HCISPP, there's still, even the CISSP would help you to get your foot in the door at a healthcare. The reason why I know this is because they contact me all the time, and I have a CISSP. And let me see. More questions. I'm just answering questions today, guys. Just questions. Mixed Match says, I'm former military Army. Question. Is AWS Associate Architect Cert SAA 003 the best cloud certification to get for FedRAMP and cloud work? A better person to ask for this would be Professor Black Ops, PBO. If you don't know who that is, I had an interview with him just last week. If you go to Google and type in Professor Black Ops, he's got this certificate. I believe he has this certification, if I'm not mistaken. He has this certification and a few other cloud certification, and he works in the government doing this kind of stuff. He is the best person to ask to answer this question. I will say this: FedRAMP is the federal government's method of validating cloud technologies, and all it is the NIST 800. It's the stuff that I was waving around here. It's this stuff, the NIST 800 53 and NIST 837. Is that with some other stuff attached to it? So now that said, they do have an extra component where they evaluate certain technologies. The top ones that they use, the government uses right now, is Amazon, so AWS. The other one is Azure from Microsoft, and then Google. Those are the three main ones, and the top two is definitely AWS and Azure. You can't go wrong with those two. But if you wanted to know which one is best and what actual certification is going to help you out, I would talk to somebody like Professor Black Ops, he does this on a daily basis, so he would be the best guy to answer the question. From what I know, you can't go wrong with AWS because the government is using the hell out of AWS right now. You can't go wrong. Right now, that's my track. Right now, I'm currently working on doing the very certification that you just mentioned. I'm going to do the foundational one and then go to that one next, or one of the next one in line with that. So, hope that answers your question. Sorry, I can't go any deeper than that. Let me see. Any other questions? Comments, complaints? Somebody asked me, "Do you do mentorship?" No, not yet. I'm getting this question a lot, and I'm busy. And the way that I would do it, I would want to build a structure first before I offer something like that, and I'd only take a few people at a time. So as of right now, this minute, I'm not doing it. I think somebody who is doing it, I want to say Simply Hired, he might be doing it. I'm not sure. And then for sure Will Reed is. So right now, if you can't wait, then you probably want to go with bettereverydaycyber.com. Will Reed, I think he has a waiting list of people that he mentors. So that there's a few other people who mentor doing this kind of stuff. Me, I don't as of right now. Stay tuned. I'm working on something to actually, offer, because I've been getting asked like nonstop if I do that. And right now the answer is no. Let me see here. Tanika asked, is there a way to create a portfolio of what you can do as a GRC analyst, like a POAMs and SAR. I've been thinking of providing a service like this where I would allow you guys to be a part of it, because one of the ways that I'm getting hired is people are seeing my work online. Sometimes I'll get contacted by companies who see my work on this site, or they use some of my work, and then they'll hire me. So I might actually do something like that, because right now there's nothing like this. So would somebody be interested in that, like a GRC portfolio, something like that, and I would just put your stuff out there? Because I've got a lot of work. I've written a lot of things for a lot of different organizations. Obviously, I can't use their stuff with their proprietary or sensitive information, but I could use a template, not their template, but I could use a template like, that's kind of what the approach that I would take it. Okay, I'm getting some people saying yes on that. Yeah, man, I just was just thinking about this morning, because I've got so many things that I put out that people are using it, and then they're reaching out and saying, "Hey, man, I get hired because of it." And sometimes I've gotten a few jobs because people are seeing my portfolio. They're seeing my stuff out there, and then they're like, "Hey, could you do this for us and stuff?" So maybe I can open up the floor and allow other people to put their stuff out there too with me. Let me see. And Larry says, I think Professor Black Ops has a library on YouTube explaining the NIST 800 series as well. Yep, sure does. I've been watching some of his cloud stuff. It's excellent. It's excellent. Larry says, I currently work for the government and have a public trust. Getting a higher clearance is hard, but because they have to be paid, because they have to pay for it. They're typically limited to specific positions as needed. Yes, that's right. Because like a secret clearance, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that costs them 5K per person to get those things done, and then it's even more for a SCI. Like the higher it is, the more they have to hire somebody just to do your background investigation, because it's a background investigation, but with 10 extra steps. So they got to pay all this money to have every person have that secret clearance. So they try to limit it to how many people absolutely need it. So they're not just handing those things out like candy, unless you're working for like an Intel DMV area. They do hand them out like candy because a lot of those jobs require secret and TSSCI clearances. So they're trying to keep it to only the person who needs it, least privilege. Like this person has a need to know this information. Therefore, this person will have this secret clearance. And these people over here, they have access to this top secret network. So therefore they need, like that. So I agree with you on that one, Larry. That's from what I've seen. That's how it works. Let me see here. Chris says healthcare is strong. One of the only big industries in North Dakota, ND. I'm mobile, but there are a couple of other good healthcare options. Yeah, I didn't know that in ND you're talking about North Dakota. Is that what it is? Yeah, I didn't know that there was strong presence there. But yeah, healthcare is huge, man. It's absolutely huge. I get contacts on a regular basis from some kind of healthcare organization to do GRC stuff. And usually, whenever I've done interviews with them, they're looking for somebody who's have been in that industry before. They highly prefer somebody who's already been in healthcare. So yeah, you have an advantage if you're in the healthcare space. Let me see. I want to work from home. What is the best certification to get? It's not really going to be about certifications when working from home. It's going to be about certain skill sets. Certain skill sets are better than others for working from home, from what I've seen. I'm just talking from what I've seen, and I've been working from home for about 7 years now. It's crazy to say that, but I've been working from home for like 7 years. My skill set is uh is governance, risk, and compliance, specifically risk management framework, NIST 800 series publications. So I'm very, very well versed in that. Um, that's my skill set, and that has quite a few remote jobs. So if you know a framework really good, um, there's jobs for you there. There's some jobs for information system security officer work that are remote. There's actually a lot of them. Another skill set for remote workers I've noticed is like network engineers. Like if you're a network engineer and network engineer specific is usually specific to a certain technology. Like normally if you're a network engineer, they want somebody who does Cisco or very deep in Cisco or very deep in Juniper or very deep in Palo Alto firewalls or something like that. And so some of those jobs are remote. That skill set has a lot of remote jobs. What's another one? Help me out, guys. Cloud engineers. There's a lot of remote cloud engineer work. I'll tell you some that are not so remote. It's going to be if you're working TSSCI type positions, secret clearances, and if you're working a information system security officer or cybersecurity job, and you're working specifically or exclusively top secret type work or secret, they're going to want you to come in. Like there's not really a lot of jobs. I'm not going to say there's not any. There's some, I'm sure, but most of those are going to be you have to work in the office. Like a lot of the ones around here in this area in Colorado, most of those are going to be sensitive information, and they want me to come in. It's going to be skill based, so networking, cloud technologies, frameworks. Those are the ones that I've been seeing. I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of other ones. I've seen some that are for program managers as well, project managers. Some of those it's going to be position based. Like some companies are more open to doing work from home jobs, and then skill sets, not certifications. Um, is there a certification for GRC? Yes, there is. Some of the top certifications that they want to see for GRC is the CISSP is a big one for GRC work. A lot of times they look for that one. There's some alternatives such as the CASP and the CRISC. And what's another good one? CISA is another good one. Those are like some of the top GRC certifications. Another one that they'll accept a lot of times with experience would be the Security Plus is a really good one that they accept a lot. A lot of people on my team have a Security Plus. So that one's pretty solid for GRC type positions. Another one would be the one that I have is called the CGRC, which formerly known as the ISC2 CAP certification, which specifically is for people who know the risk management framework, NIST 800 series of GRC for the government. So those are a few certifications, but I'm sure I'm missing a few. Those are the top ones that I've seen. Somebody said IAM is remote. IAM, what kind of IAM do you do? That's identity authentication management, identity authorization management. Is that for like cloud? And then SD's chimed in and says, Intel agencies are tough to beat, make fully remote. Absolutely. Yeah. You don't see too many Intel positions. Access. Okay. Oh, identity access management. Access. All right. Yeah, you don't see too many Intel agencies doing that. So true. So true. All right. Let me see here. CGRC is a cert through IC2 squared for GRC's fields. Yep. Yep. Have that one. It's pretty good. It's very specific. How about the CISM? Yeah, CISM, one of my coworkers, a couple of my bosses in the past have a CISM. CISM is from ISACA. And what does the certification stand for? I don't remember off the top of my head. Certified Information System Manager? I'm just guessing. CISM is a lot of my ISACA. A lot of my bosses have had this one certification, and my couple of my coworkers right now have it. It is the Certified Information Security Manager. Okay, yeah. And that's from an organization called ISACA. And ISACA is a very good, it's right up there with the IC2 squared as far as certification bodies go. And they have the CISA, the CRISC, and a few other great certifications, including the CISM. So let me show you guys my screen here. If you happen to be watching me. Yeah, this is ISACA's website right here. This is one I've thought about doing. I thought about doing the CRISC for a long time because that's kind of in line with what I do. The CRISC, and at one point the CISA was something I was interested in. Right now I'm focused on the cloud certifications. But yeah, this is ISACA is extremely respectable. So if you're trying to get that one, that's, shout out to you, because that's a great certification to get. BM Robertson says cloud security for PCI DSS. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, cloud, that's perfect. Like that is like I said, cloud is perfect for remote. There's a lot of remote cloud jobs. So yeah, that's right in line with what I was talking about as far as remote jobs. And in that, their question was from earlier. They said, "Hey, what certification do I need to get in order? I want to work remotely. Tell me what certifications to get." And I was telling them it's really about skill set and positions. Now, when you get that skill set, sometimes they will want you to either have a combination of the experience and the certification. But if you have enough experience in cloud, in frameworks, like my man has it in PCI DSS, if you have it in, I don't know, networking or something like that, one of those avenues, if you have enough of the skills and the experience, a certification can take a back seat because they really want somebody who can come in there and do the job. So it's good to have. I'm not telling you not to get a certification or a degree and stuff. Like I'm an advocate of both those things. But what I'm saying is that on the top of the food chain, the apex predator is going to be your experience. And your experience is the most important thing. So if you get that experience in that field, like in cloud or in frameworks or whatever, it's going to be easier for you to get your foot in the door in that job or in a remote job or whatever job you want. And then you get your, certifications and stuff to really thin the herd and kill your competition. Let me see here. Got more questions here and comments. Somebody said, SD said, CISM is for those of us who can't pass the CISSP IAM level 3. You think so? CISM, I've noticed like a lot of manager types will grab that one. And then in the DoD, I noticed a lot of people. CISSP is a fucking hard test, man. It's fucking hard, man. Even having taken it, I was like, this is ridiculous. The questions are just fucking dumb, dude. They're just it's just dumb. You know, And so a lot of people instead of doing the CISP, they would just go ahead and take the CASP. And the CASP is right up there. I've heard it was more difficult than the CISP, but I've never taken it, so I wouldn't know. So a lot of people was taking that instead of the CISP. So just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much of that is true. I've only taken the CISP, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But I know that test was, when I took it, it was ridiculous. I was in a cold sweat. I was the second to the last guy to leave. I was second guessing myself through the whole. I must have changed half the. I mean, I was going through changing stuff, and like I read it 20 times and stuff, and I really stressed myself out about that one. But did pass it eventually. Hansel says, how do you ask the company to pay pay for health care certificates? I graduated 5 months ago and I did an internship, but get rejected. Oh, you got rejected for internships, and you said, how do you ask the company to pay for healthcare tech certificates? I would flat out ask them, like, hey, you guys pay for. I would just email the boss and be like, hey, do you guys pay for? Is there a program that pays for CISSP? Is there a budget for paying for the CISSP certification, or even boot camps? Sometimes they'll even pay for your boot camps. Much more expensive, but sometimes they'll pay for that. I know a lot of companies, what they'll do is they will pay for it if you pass. You pay for it up front, out of pocket, and then they will pay for it if you pass. So maybe propose it. Maybe say, if you want to take the CISP, just, approach them and say, listen, I'm willing to take the CISSP and pay for it out of my own pocket. If I pass it, will you guys pay for it? That's what most companies do. And if you don't pass it, you pay for it. Because it only benefits them if you pass it. Like, then they can put that on there. They can say, oh, we have 5 employees with CISSP or whatever. Makes them more valuable, makes them look good. All right, let me see if I've missed any questions here. And today, guys, this is about you guys. I'm only taking questions. I'm not teaching. I'm not interviewing. All I'm doing is taking questions. Okay, I got a couple here I missed, I think. Tanika says, is there a way to create a portfolio? I already read that one. Sorry. I already read that one. I want to work from home and get, okay, I think I read that one. Okay, I think I already read all of these. Unless I missed one. I apologize if I missed your questions. It's got a whole bunch of stuff on here. So I'm scrolling up and down to see if I can. No questions, is here listening quietly. All right. Any questions? Sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes I'll just get a ton of questions while I'm talking, but I'll be teaching something, and then sometimes it's the reverse, like today. Let me see here. Yeah, just so you guys know, I love your guys' questions. Most of the content that I make, it comes from your questions. It comes from the community. It's a community-based channel. So everything I do is from you guys. So it's all about this. It's all about you guys. I have gotten questions about mentorships. I just haven't. I've got to put together something I would do. It's got to be, for me, it has to be something that gives you something. It wouldn't just be a halfway, it's not something I would do halfway. It's not something I would take lightly. And I just need to sit down and figure out what I would like to do. for my mentees. So I've been getting back-to-back questions about it, and I would like to. I feel like I'd be good at it. It's just I want to do it right if I'm going to do it. Ryan says, I just got back from the ISC2 Squared Security Congress in Las Vegas, and that was an incredible event. Oh, really? What do they do there, Ryan? And are there any certifications? I got a question for you, Ryan. Are there any certifications that they're bringing on board? Like, is there anything that the IC2 Squared is thinking about bringing in, like a pen testing cert or something like that? I really, really liked their healthcare certification, but it sounds like they're about to, well, doesn't sound like it. They're definitely going to sunset that in 2026, which is unfortunately, I've been promoting the hell out of that certification because I thought it was a brilliant, brilliant move on their part. But it looks like they're getting rid of it. And Ryan says, the one huge takeaway from that event for me was the need to do a complete inventory of all the certificates in use and ensure that all of our certifications, our certificates, are quantum proof. That's a great point. Quantum proof means, for those like, I know it sounds weird, but essentially quantum computers, which now exist, is now a thing. It can crack certain encryption. So, and let me see which ones. I can't, off the top of my head, I don't recall which one it is. So certain encryption that we currently have on your website to do HTTPS or on your banking can be cracked by quantum computers. And so not good, right? No bueno. And yeah, Ryan says Chinese research. Yeah, here's the big thing right here. Other governments are currently doing this. So Chinese researchers announced that this week that they have potentially compromised the RSA. Oh my Lord. That's so fucking crazy. So they had like a breakdown. Let me see if I can find it, of which encryption. I know that there's certain encryption standard that we're currently using that can be cracked by quantum computers. And I'm looking for it right now. They had like a breakdown of which one. Okay, I think this is it right here. Let me show you guys what I'm seeing here. So this is what they mean. So certificate type. Encryption algorithm. And let me see. RSA and ECC. And these are types of encryption: quantum safe, new quantum safe algorithms. I'm trying to get like a very simple breakdown. Traditionally, ECC or RSA and quantum AIG Pro. Okay. Okay, this might not be the one I was looking for. I was looking for like a breakdown of specific encryption that is right now can be cracked by quantum computers. And let me keep looking for it. And I'll show you guys on the screen once I find it. There's certain encryption right now that can be cracked by quantum computers. And the thing is, they announced this, Chinese researchers announced this, but what about the stuff they haven't announced? Right? I mean, and what I heard was what they're doing is they're collecting. There's tons of data out there that's already encrypted, right? It's just all over the place encrypted. Like if you send a message from one bank, sends a message to this other bank, and it's all encrypted with a certain, and it can't be right now, can't be encrypted. But what if they saved it? They saved that encrypted message and then waited until they had a system that can crack that code, and then decrypted it. So I heard that there's certain governments that are probably, maybe all the governments, I don't know. They're collecting all that encrypted data, like collecting these big ass databases, and then they're just waiting for for the quantum system to come online to where it can crack that code and know all your secrets. Let me see, and I still haven't found it yet. There's certain ones that I'm sure. um Let me see. More questions. Stuff I can answer. Not big brain stuff. Um all right, here's one. Do you need a specific cert to get a GRC entry level besides a security plus? I think they're looking for certain skill sets. A certification is great, is awesome, right? Like that security plus is going to really help you out, but they're looking for really certain. They're wanting you to know, understand how, for example, PCI DSS works, and how, and if you know how to apply that to an organization to make sure that they're compliant with it. And so that's the kind of skill set that they're looking for. So not only be able to cite, not necessarily being able to cite PCI DSS verbatim off the top of your head, or risk management framework off the top. I don't know every single control. I don't know. I couldn't even name to you every single family. If I had to and a gun was pointed to my head, I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. But there's a lot. There's 20 of them. So what I can tell you is I understand like what is supposed to happen, how it works, and then how you would apply it to the Department of Homeland Security, or how you would apply it to, I don't know, DEA or something like that. I could tell you, if you put me in there, I would know how to write a policy. I know how to write a security operate. I would, if they gave me their documents, I'd be able to say, you guys aren't compliant, or yep, you guys are good. This is good. That's not good. What, you probably need this and that. I would be able to do that. They're looking for that level of competence. For an entry level position, if you've written a security policy, that's very helpful. If you know how to articulate certain frameworks, like a certain framework, you could like explain what it is and then apply it to that environment. If you've done that before, and you're an entry level person who's been on the help desk, but you don't really have GRC compliance, but you have a lot of you can point to all the security things that you've done. That is super helpful, because that means you understand the IT fundamentals enough to help to protect it and to communicate with the technical guys, and then to go and talk to management and to go talk to a C-level exec or a director or something like that. They're looking for somebody who knows how to communicate the skill, communicate the regulation, the standard, or the framework. That's what they're really looking for. The cert, sometimes they have like a checkbox that they have to put in there, but what they really need is somebody who can take those GRC standards, and GRC stand is for governance, risk, and compliance, but specifically they're looking for you to know like an actual framework. PCI DSS, HIPAA, that's a regulation for healthcare. Risk management framework, NIST 800, NIST CSF 2.0. They're looking for you to know what those are. Now, you as a beginner, as a help desk person, as a network person, or a server person, or a software engineering person, you're like, Bruce, I don't know what the hell those are. But I guarantee you, you're actually using them. You just need to go back. Like what I would do if I were you is go back and read the actual security policy. Boring as hell, put you straight to sleep. But that policy is going to point to what regulation you guys have been using. And it's going to point to things that you've been doing. If you're an IT person in that industry, it'll point to things you have been doing. Hell, even if you're not an IT person, if you're a nurse, if you read the policy, you'll notice certain things you've been told to do, standard operating procedures you've been doing on a regular basis to protect the patient's information that you've been doing to satisfy the governance, risk, and compliance of that hospital, of whatever organization you happen to be in. That's the stuff you need to speak to on your resume. Somebody said, what happened? Oops, sorry about that. I have a Security Plus certification and a CISA. What program should I take to get a degree in college? What degree program would I recommend? Any kind of computer degree, any computer degree, information technology, information systems, computer science, any of them will do. I would take the easiest one, whichever one's the easiest with the least amount of math. Because I could tell you, you're not going to use any damn calculus in this job. You're not going to use no calculus. No calculus will be used. None. So anything without calculus, I would do that. Let me see. USA job site is best place for a newbie to look for. Is the US, okay, you're asking a question. Is the USA job site a best or for a newbie to look for a job? I would say, like, you need to look everywhere. Don't just go to USA Jobs, Jermaine. Like, you want to go everywhere, man. Like, most of my jobs have come from monster.com, man. Most of the jobs I've been offered have come from monster.com. I'm just as surprised as you. I don't know why. So don't just go on USA Jobs. There's no one place. This is why I tell people to go on multiple sites, because there's no one place that has the magic job. You are sifting for gold. Like, see it as like there's no special place, not even LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn, but there's no magic wand there. There's no, like, you got to do the work. So what you want to do is sift for gold. And the bigger the net you cast, the more opportunities you're going to see. Put your resume everywhere, not just USA Jobs. Put it for a newbie. I would say a newbie's best place is the following places: LinkedIn, Dice, Indeed, Simply Hired, Monster.com, USA Jobs. My point is, put on as many platforms as possible. Put as many platforms. You want as many people to see you as possible. If you don't have a job or you're not satisfied with your job, then your job should be to get another job. And then you need to put your profile everywhere and update it as soon as you get a new skill, like put new stuff on it. That's what I would highly recommend. So that's my advice. I've been talking for about an hour, guys, and I really appreciate everybody's information here. Thank you so much for watching. I think I'm done. I have answered all the questions. I feel I'm satisfied. This is great. Normally there's like a million questions by the time I end this thing, but today we've answered every question. Let's check LinkedIn. Nope, nothing on LinkedIn. Not surprising. So yes, we have answered and conquered every single question, and that is awesome. So I will see you guys next week. Maybe we can get somebody else to interview. Ryan, are you up for it, man? Just let me know. Anybody else? Professor Black Ops? Anybody? Because those videos do the best. All right, wait. Let me see if I got one more. Nope, no more. Okay, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Peace. I'm out of here.